lucky enough to be invited to come and spend a few days at Tavoletto, and I think when I arrived the weather was just like London. It was pouring with rain and freezing cold, and I think everyone associated with Tavoletto thought I was crazy for wanting to spend the night, but I was determined, so I spent 2 days at Tavoletto and the night and absolutely loved it. The first night I was working until 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was wind and rain, and it was absolutely wonderful. And first day and the second day I woke up and the sun was streaming into my bedroom, and it was absolutely beautiful. So I spent day number 2 working in the chapel with the door open looking out of the chapel. And when I came, I just brought a lot of materials with me, a lot of paper and paints, and I didn't even know what to bring. I just knew I had to spend some time in the chapel, being part of the space and part of the place. And for me, it's not so much what my work is about, what the work I do is going to be about, because to be honest, I don't know. And usually when I work on anything, I'm trying to devise a strategy for unknowing something. It's much more interesting for me if I don't know what I'm going to do. So I tell myself all the way through, I don't know. It's almost like a mantra. And for me, the strategy of doubt and constant questioning or deferral of what the project is about is usually the best way to end up somewhere. And I've no idea at this stage where I will end up. And I think it's interesting for me to take this approach, which I think is quite a secular approach, to kind of say, I don't know, and it's a strategy of doubt, and put that into a sacred space. Because for me, the proposition of Christianity is about a faith kind of almost beyond certainty. So what interests me, I suppose, is how a piece of work which is focused and centered about uncertainty and doubt is going to function and survive in a space which, to me at least, seems to be all about a certain kind of unnatural certainty. And I say unnatural because I suppose I'm an atheist, and I'm a curious atheist, because I love being in the space where worship, let's say, takes place. And to me the space is inspiring. It's a beautiful space, but I can't relate to what the message behind the space. And it intrigues me that so much beauty is creating a message that I can't subscribe to. So I'm very curious to see how the work that I do is going to operate in this space. I respond to it aesthetically, but not conceptually. So when the work comes into the space, I wonder if there'll be some kind of conceptual dissonance, which at the moment I'm not aware of, but I think will become apparent. same time as standing in an extraordinary space. I think it's not that I want to criticise the space, because I think it's incredible. And how nature is brought from the outside, is orchestrated in a way into a design which involves symmetry. I like the way that the chapel is symmetrical in a way. You look at it, you look up, you look down, in any way you look, the patterns, which I really love, and the design is this beautiful symmetry. And the only point of asymmetry, as far as I can see, in the chapel is the altarpiece, is the picture, which is the altarpiece, which somehow at the very focal point of the space is where the symmetry breaks down. And I guess that's very human. It's that the breakdown of symmetry is a very human, and it's a very human painting. It's a painting of fragility and frailty and desperation and love for mother and son. And to me, it's a very human moment in this kind of very orchestrated overall design. And I think the work I do follows some of those themes. The work I do, independent of anything I do at Tavoletto, follows those themes. I'm very interested in that. Ideas of symmetry, taking one thing, creating something symmetrical opposite, and out of those two things comes a third unexpected thing. So you have one side, then the other, and by putting the two together, you create a unification of two halves, which is the third, and which represents somehow the whole, which is always surprising. I love that mirror thing, where you bring two things together, just like the chapel. You have two halves meeting, and right at the centre, created from the two halves, is something unique and unexpected. And to me, that's what the Spanzotti is. It's this kind of meeting where symmetry meets. You get this very human unpredictability. And I think a lot of my work deals with that I kind of create a strategy to allow that to happen. So I bring two separate halves creating symmetry, and then play with that symmetry so that either doesn't quite work, or there's a fragility right at the heart of the design, which kind of threatens to dissolve anything, but somehow just clings on, that very delicate moment of uncertainty, which I think you find in that painting, right at the meeting place of where the design of the chapel comes in, and there you have this extraordinary painting.